You are listening to the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast, where you discover management insights and strategies for your successful dental practice. There are also interviews with key people in the industry who have advice and services to help you and your team achieve great success. Welcome to this episode of the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast. Today I want to talk about the hiring process. I know I've heard some wild stories over the past few years now, about number one, when you do advertise for a new team member, such as a dental assistant or receptionist, practice manager, that you are getting a whole bunch of resumes coming through that the applicants have had no experience, even though you've asked for only people with experience to apply. They are a bunch of baristas and hospitality workers and carers and even more outside of the dental scope workforce that are applying for these positions. And so you have to filter through and find the right ones. But then even with those resumes, when you think about a resume, it's a bit of a historical snapshot of time. And so even though it gives you an idea of what that person could bring to your organisation, it's not a real true indicator. And it really is that first step of filtering out a bunch of people so you end up with a short list of people that you want to focus and concentrate on. Some of the wild stories that I've heard are the number of interviews, in-person interviews that have been arranged where the applicants don't even show up and end up just ghosting the employer. So despite contacting them, finding out where they are, there's just no word back from them. And then that extends through to actually hiring somebody, and they turn up for half a day, a couple of days, 1 week, either call in sick or say they're going out to lunch for the day and then never come back. So there's some pretty awful stories out there. And when you think about the amount of stress it causes dental practices to try to function and operate with a reduced team member number and understaffed, and then on top of that, you think about all the time, energy and money spent on the recruitment process, it's heartbreaking and extraordinarily frustrating when the process doesn't go well. It is a space where we talk about the need at Dental Business Mastery for doing things differently. We certainly are in conversation with many practices about the recruitment process. And when we ask, what have you done to date? And they say, we've been posting ads on Seek and Indeed. That seems to be a common answer, but we need to update what we do. We need to evolve. I think that used to work many years ago, but now it's different. Back when I was applying for jobs, you used to just get the Age newspaper and look through the physical newspaper for job ads. That was then replaced with online portals and became obsolete to post ads in the newspaper. I think now we're getting to the point where Seek and Indeed still have, and those sort of applications still have their role, definitely. That's where a lot of people and applicants go to find the jobs that are being advertised. But there is absolutely the space to start incorporating actual specialist expert recruitment companies and other ways as well, other methods of getting the word out there, such as tapping into your own team base, tapping into your patient base, tapping into the social media, local community Facebook groups, for example, as well, to seek out people looking for jobs that might be really great at your practice. So we talk about these additional avenues that are open to us to be able to find the right people for the roles, and we want to do this really well. I mentioned some situations before that we want to try to avoid with being ghosted by applicants during the interview and onboarding process. But what are we really trying to achieve here with our recruitment process? We need to make sure, number one, that our goal isn't just to fill the seat with a warm body, that we just need someone to hold that suction because, goodness me, we just can't operate without somebody in that role. We need someone just to answer the phone We need to be able to aspire to something higher than that to avoid the later pitfalls that happen when these new hires don't end up working out and end up causing problems within our organisations. I often liken the recruitment process to online dating. When we do say we just want anyone to fulfill this role, is that not like us getting onto the dating websites and saying, I'll date anybody? I'm casting my net pretty broadly. I just need a warm body. Can you imagine the kind of people that would have come into my inbox if we did that, if we had that kind of approach? It'd be kind of crazy. And so I imagine on dating websites that the more specific you are, this is who I am, this is who I'm seeking, these are my values, do you share these values, these are my hobbies, my interests. The more specific you are, the more likely you are to go on dates that are enjoyable and are with people who are very much aligned to what you're looking for and vice versa. So let's do the same with our recruitment process. Let's become really specific with who we're looking for. And we know who we're looking for because we've all worked with and employed people that we have loved having part of our teams. So just describe them. What was it that you loved about all the great hires that you've made, all of the great team members that you've worked with, what you're trying to find in people? Just describe that person very specifically. And with your job ad, whether it's with Seek or that kind of application or with a recruitment company, bring to your job ad that level of specificity will help enormously. Another step that will help enormously is describing to this wonderful type of employee what it will be like working for your organisation. So why they should choose your dental practice over every other dental practice that wants someone just like them. So talk about how your team function with one another. Talk about what you offer your employees. It might be regular opportunities for training and upskilling. It might be a passion for helping patients become healthier. And so it's really tapping into those core values and higher purpose of the applicants that they want to be part of that environment. Talk about the work you do for your local community that might also tap into their inner drive to have a larger impact on the world than just themselves. Talk about how you celebrate wins and successes and the growth and development of team members and the success stories and great outcomes you're achieving for patients. Maybe it's all the great technology that you use in your practice. Maybe it's the standard of customer service and care that you're passionate about that has some applicants going, yeah, that's exactly the kind of environment I want to work in. That's the kind of impact I want to have. That's how I want to feel when I turn up to that workplace. The way they're describing how people feel working at that workplace, that's what I want to feel. So that's another aspect, how you can design a better and more effective job advert. But there's been something else that I am thinking could be a really powerful step in your recruitment processes. And this is getting applicants to submit a 2 or 3 minute video on who they are and why they think they would be a good fit in your organisation. Now you think about it. Creating a video nowadays, super easy. I would say 80%, 90% of applicants to whatever role you're advertising would absolutely know how to record themselves, answering a few questions, and submit that recording to you via your social media messaging or by creating a unlisted YouTube link or by uploading into a Google Drive or other such place. One of the very first things that comes to my mind, one of the very first benefits that comes to my mind when thinking about having applicants submit a video is, number one, it weeds out all of those applicants that aren't truly committed to applying to your position. If they are just getting another job application completed so they can continue receiving benefits from the government for unemployment, then those people will be weeded out. they're not going to go to that additional step of submitting a video. It will also weed out people who aren't even in your profession or interested in being in your profession. Because if one of your questions is, why do you think you are well suited to this role, they won't have an answer for. And so it'll all become too hard and they will be weeded out of the process. And so straight away, hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll be weeding out the people that will potentially end up ghosting you. That you think they're a good applicant, you want to get them on the phone for a telephone interview or get them in to your practice for an in-person interview. If the first thing they need to do to get to that point is submit a video recording of themselves, if they're not serious, they just won't do it. The second benefit, which is substantial when we are getting applicants to send through video recordings of themselves, is it gives you a far greater picture of whether this person is going to be a good fit for your organisation over simply just a resume. You'll be able to get a strong sense of their communication skills, how well and easy they are to understand, if they're a confident human being, confident communicator, whether their tone and ability to engage are strong enough to be one of those front-facing people in the health profession. We are looking for people who are going to be a good fit for our organisation. One of the elements that makes them a good fit or not is their ability to communicate with patients and fellow team members in a constructive, productive and helpful way. And we can get a sense of that over that recording. We can absolutely also get a sense of their attitude, whether they are passionate, interested in work and working for your organisation, or they're just submitting the video and the attitude might be lacking somewhat. People can certainly, just as they do in their resumes, cover it up and fake it for the video, that's for sure. And we don't truly know what it's like to work with somebody and whether they're a really great fit or not until they're actually working for your organisation. However, video gives a broader picture, that is for sure. So if you've got an applicant out there that is truly enthusiastic about working for your organisation, that loves being in the dental profession, loves all of the aspects of working with patients and a team and helping people become healthier, that's going to shine through on this video because it's authentically who they are. The other benefit of video recordings from applicants is that if you say, submit a 3-minute video answering these 3 questions and submit it by this deadline, then you know the ones that can meet a deadline and match the criteria and get the thing done. Even if they're not completely comfortable with how am I going to upload this video or even record this video, and they still get through that process by the deadline, it shows their level of resourcefulness as well. And so it's also an indicator of the kind of job role specific skills that they have and attributes that they have. Just a snapshot doesn't give you everything, absolutely, but it absolutely gives you more than a resume, and it absolutely filters out the people who aren't serious. And you really want people who are serious about working at your dental practice. You think of the drama that it causes when we have a bad hire. They always say, hire slow and fire fast. And traditionally, I would have agreed with that. However, nowadays, I have seen it often that great applicants are snapped up very quickly if you aren't progressing through your recruitment process really swiftly. And I mean, the minute they apply, you're contacting them. I've got your application, about to read it through. Once you've read it through, very interested in having a telephone call conversation. Can I give you a call now? What's your earliest convenience? And then from that step saying, let's do it in person, come out and have a look at the practice. What's your earliest convenient time that you can come out? You need to be that swift nowadays. You can't afford to wait a day or two in between communications. By then, they're already snapped up by somebody else. So we need to be faster with our hiring process, but we definitely need to still maintain that high standard. So we need to get a powerful process in place, and I really think video recordings will help that. Once we've got a bad hire in place, they can be disruptive to the team. We don't want to disrupt our team members. We want to try to keep great team members loyal and create an environment where they love coming to work. Let's not plant a bomb in there. Let's not plant a bad seed in there to have usually happy people become disgruntled. A bad hire can negatively impact your patient experiences when they come to your practice, and we want to do everything to avoid that, not encourage that, not create the environment where that's an easy trap to fall into. And once they're in place, training people with a poor attitude or who are just not suited for dental practice work is laborious, time-consuming, frustrating because they're not all on board. They're not enthusiastic learners. And so it takes a long time to get them up to speed. And then if they're really not working out, despite all of your best efforts and support, we have to go through a process of providing warnings and meetings and all the things to make sure that if we do have to let them go, we're letting them go in a way that is fair and legal. All of this takes a lot of time. Time is money. Money on all the job adverts to be re-advertising, etc. Just all the stress and worry, the distraction of it all as well. We want to try to make sure that we're hiring really well from word go and not repeating the process constantly because we're not quite getting there. Now, one caveat around these video recordings, even though 80 to 90%, I'm assuming, of people will be very comfortable with how to go about providing that video recording, creating it and sending it through, there may be some people, for whatever reason, that are truly uncomfortable with that process. They might also be a terrific applicant that we don't want to lose the chance of meeting. So I think you can always put in there that if for any reason you can't submit a video, then please call us personally between these hours on this day or this day, and then we can set up a telephone conversation. And what that does is that it still requires their effort and initiative to work within a deadline as well and follow clear instructions. And so you'll still get to speak to these people, but it will still require effort on their behalf in addition to blindly sending off a resume. And so you're not losing the chance to speak to these people, which is important. Now, when you're asking your applicants to send in a video, setting them up with a series of questions that are carefully designed to give you important information that you require in order to make a good decision about someone will help enormously rather than having them just ramble on for 3 minutes. An example of some questions that come to mind are, if you are looking for somebody who's experienced, for example, say, tell us in 2 minutes about your career so far, your journey in the dental profession. And just as they are describing that journey, you'll get a strong sense of how engaging they are, the level of experience that they've got, why they move from one job to another, a whole bunch of information in there. How about, why do you really enjoy working in the dental profession? And that's where they might be more team-oriented. I love working as part of a busy team, achieving goals, all the things, or I absolutely love helping patients. And it fulfills me. It fills my bucket up to assist patients be more comfortable getting their dental treatment done. It could be more career-oriented. I love being in the dental profession because there's so much scope for growth. I used to be a dental assistant, and then I was a patient coordinator, and then I was the receptionist. Now I'm applying for this job as a practice manager because I love that career growth. Tell us about the kind of team member you are, providing a couple of examples of situations where you did have a positive impact on the team that you're working with. You could also do the same, asking for a couple of situations where they positively impacted the patient experience that they can bring to mind. A good one for dental practices, because we're always so busy, is how do you handle busy days and difficult situations and support other team members when it's a really busy day? If you are a dental practice that has very clear values as well, you can say, these are our values. Can you speak to how you feel about those values? Do they resonate with you? You want to keep the questions to a minimum. We only want them to have to record for 2 to 3 minutes. Let's just cap it at 3 minutes. We want them to provide enough information so we get a sense of what their attitude is like. We get a sense of what their communication skills are like. We want to get a sense of how they present themselves. We are a public-facing service as dental practices. It matters how we present ourselves, what impression we make on other people. I think you'll be really surprised at the value that you get when you start looking through these videos. I think it is a tremendously powerful additional step that we can take in our recruitment process nowadays, where things have been challenging over the last few years. There is an additional step that I want to encourage you to take, though, and that is you guys, the recruiters, the dental practices that are actually moving through this recruitment process, you guys to submit your own video as part of your job advert. You think about, just as you're reading a resume, it gives you a particular snapshot, but nothing really in depth about what this person brings to the table. That is the same for them when they read your job advert. Sure, it's a bunch of words on a page, and we're going to be doing as much as we can to make sure that we are appealing to that job ad appeals to the right character traits, that it is an engaging ad. We're helping that person understand how it's going to feel working in our organisation. We're going to build out our job advert in terms of its content as much as we can. But if we added a video as well that had us speaking within the practice walls so the person can see inside the practice, they get a sense of either the practice manager or practice owner, whoever's doing the recruiting in the practice, we get a strong sense of who that person is. Having them talk about the practice, having them talk about the values, having them talk about this is the way we do things here. That in itself is going to bring the cream to the top as well, because some applicants will look at that advert and say, I don't really see myself working there. Or just the mere fact that this practice has put a video forward kind of raises the bar a little bit, and I'm not that kind of performer. I'm not performing at that level. But however, when we are thinking about the kind of person that we generally want to employ, somebody who's a high performer, cares about what they do, wants to have a positive impact, their standards of the kind of workplace they want to work for are higher than the average. And so when you put a video forward, they're thinking, this is more the kind of practice that I think I'd be suited working at, because all of a sudden the standard is higher. They're doing more than any other dental practice that's advertising for a new dental assistant, receptionist, practice manager, or even the practitioners out there as well. And so I think this place is more suited to me. And so just the process of you putting a video up is a filtration process, so you can see the cream rising to the top. So your video as well, nice and short and snappy. We don't want to be rambling on for half an hour. But talk about, this is us, this is where we are located. Stand inside your practice with a mobile phone, somebody else videotaping you possibly, but you could do it even just by yourself. And as you're talking about a short, brief history of the practice, and this is who we are, and this is the role we're advertising for, this is the kind of person we're looking for, walk through the practice so they can see other team members in the background, possibly giving a nice friendly wave. They can see the internal structure of the practice and think, oh, that's nice and modern. I think I can see myself working there. You could even videotape the dental assistant chair that's empty in the surgery saying, that's the seat you're going to be sitting in. We can't wait to see you there. Once you've got your video, you can upload it onto your social media. You can provide a link to an unlisted YouTube channel link to your video on the recruitment sites. You can share it in the local community Facebook groups. And so your reach goes broader if you're not necessarily looking for somebody experienced in dental. In those sort of situations, if you're looking for a trainee, for example, talk about why it's just so rewarding working in the dental profession, and have a couple of team members quickly jump in for a few seconds, say how rewarding it is working with patients and helping them become healthier. So having your video there and then having it filter out a whole bunch of people, so who's left actually submitting their video, all of a sudden you are getting people who are truly motivated, more aligned to you, and really wanted to, and are showing a commitment to taking that next step, to further engaging, and let's go ahead and get a telephone interview happening ASAP. So I hope I have helped you see how these video recordings from applicants can be enormously powerful in your recruitment process and really help to overcome some of the challenges that we've been experiencing to date. But I also hope you can see the power of submitting your own video in your job ads in an attempt to articulate and communicate and message more effectively of who you are and what it's like to work for you and who you're looking for, but also filter out so the people that do end up submitting their videos are the kind of people that get you really excited about introducing somebody new to your organisation. If you have any questions, have any feedback, please always reach out anytime. Otherwise, I look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now. If you enjoyed this podcast, then I encourage you to head over to Amina and my website, dentalbusinessmastery.com.au. You will find all the information that you need if you would like to gain our assistance in helping you and your team achieve great success. If you would like to find out more, you can also email us directly at info@dentalbusinessmastery.com.au. Thanks so much for listening.